Generally in the societies we live today, there's always a lot of different groups and grown up into this. We just brought up into this where we don't understand the differences. So maybe you grow up as a Deobandi or you grow up as a Barelvi, as a Sunni. And generally everyone approaches these subjects as a bigot. If you understand what I'm saying, everybody is just stuck on their own mentality and what they believe. And then at the end of the day, now that I'm a student of ilm, I'm just in my second, third year. As AHLE Sunnah wal Jama'ah, we are all Asha'ir or Maturidi, if I'm wrong.
No, that's correct.
And we either following one of the A'imma Arba'ah, is Ahnaf or Shafi, Hanbali and Maliki. So if we are all categorized as Deobandis and Barelvis under this banner of AHLE Sunnah wal Jama'ah, then what is the issue with us uniting based on that?
Okay, look, firstly, why even call yourself Deobandi and Barelvi? Why do you need to?
I understand that point 100%. I refer to myself as AHLE Sunnah wal Jama'ah.
Okay, so when you analyze the beliefs pre-foundations of Deoband, 1866,
yes,
the scholars never believed that it's possible for Allah to have power over lying. True? I mean, no one ever believed. You don't believe that.
Yeah.
It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you don't say He has power over lying. This is bid'ah to say this. But Maulana Rashid Ahmed Gangohi, one of the founders of Deoband, he held this belief, and this is why he was refuted. And this is what led to the ikhtilaf.
Now is your issue with the Deobandi, because it's referred to as that, with the Deobandi individual ulama within the Deoband, or the Deobandi school of thought, which is generally...
How would you define the...
According to my limited understanding and what we've been learning in madrasa, our school of thought, like because of the Dars and Nizamiyah that we go through, our school of thought is categorized so-called Deobandis. We are actually AHLE Sunnah wal Jama'ah.
But what would you say, what makes that distinction by categorizing yourself Deobandi? Is it based on the teachings of Maulana Qasim Nanotwi and Maulana Rashid Ahmed Gangohi? It would be, wouldn't it?
That would what it would be referred to.
Because those two were the founders of Deoband.
Yeah.
And both of them came out with beliefs which contradicted Ahl Sunnah.
Yes. And if they did that, they're wrong. I agree.
You agree with that, yeah?
If any man is prone to error, and if they did that, they're wrong.
Then you should say, if you go back to your teachers, and you say, if Maulana Rashid Ahmed Gangohi and Qasim Nanoti made mistakes, we don't follow them in their mistakes, and we don't categorize ourselves as Deobandi, then you're my Sunni brother. Do you understand?
Okay, and then...
But your teachers won't accept this. So today I said, aside from Al-Imam Ahmad Rida Khan rahimullah, if I put his books aside and I go into other ulama, a majority of the Sunnis will accept me as a Sunni.
Yes.
They'll say he's still a Sunni because he's following. Some of them may feel, oh look, he's not.
But do you categorize yourself as a Barelvi?
No, a Sunni, Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah.
And I categorize myself as a Sunni, Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah.
But you said you're Deobandi.
No, I said that's like, so even if you look at it in like our country, the situation, I stand for correction. But generally, if you're on the Tablighi side of things, or if you are not, basically you don't make salami. If you don't make salami, and if you don't hold certain beliefs and dress codes, then you're regarded as a Barelvi.
If you as a Deobandi, you mean?
Yeah, as a Ahl Sunnah and within as Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah.
So look, you know, the Deobandis over the board, they're very confused because some of them, what they do is they align themselves with the Salafis in, the pseudo-Salafi movement in Saudi Arabia, what we call Wahhabism. Like Rashid Ahmed Gangohi in his fatwa, he says that Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab was a reviver of Islam and a great man, and he praises him. You wouldn't agree with that, would you?
No.
Now, if you went back to your teachers and you told them that I disagree with Maulana Rashid Ahmed Gangohi saying Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab is a reviver of Islam and a great person, your teachers will renounce you. I guarantee you that. Go and try it. Likewise.
No, but as Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah, in what we taught by our teachers, the only person, Anbiya alayhi salam, are safe from error. Any man can make an error.
So you would say you renounce that belief of Muhammad bin Abdul Wahhab, yes?
Yes.
The Wahhabi
Yes,
creed.
100%.
Likewise, you renounce Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala having power over lying. And then
Over?
lying to lie.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yes. So now the Deobandi creed,
Yes.
as a tenet of faith,
Yeah.
they believe it's possible. They believe it's possible.
And now Deobandi is not our creed.
No, I know, but the people who
The ulama of Deoband were AHLE Sunnah wal JAMAAH.
no, because they held those creedal points.
Now there were maybe few ulama.
Not
of
all of
Deoband.
them hold that one.
Yeah.
You know, that particular point.
Yeah, not all.
So no, they all defended.
Yeah.
So who refuted it? For instance, you'll find in Mahmoud al-Hassan's Fatawa the same position. Yeah, they defended Rashid Ahmed Gangoi's position, and so many of them defend it till today. It's become like a creedal point that they defend it, like like a cultish type behavior, but they won't say he was wrong on that one position, and we don't take from him on that one position. This is where the main distinction is.
So this is your issue with Deobandi ulama.
This is one issue. They have many issues. For instance, they have Qasim Nanotwi, one of the founders of Deoband. He wrote a book called Tahdhirun Nas, and in that book he mentions he tries interpreting the verse of the Quran which mentions Khatam al-Nabiyyin, the finality of prophets, and he says this has nothing to do with time necessarily, because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, do you read al-Mirqat, the book in Mantiq? Yeah?
Yes.
In the commentary on the Deobandi, you got the Sherkoti, I think, his commentary on the Deobandi commentary. He even mentions this in the introduction. He says, and the Rashid Ahmed Gangoi's Qasim Nanotwi says this, that the Prophet ﷺ is the only finality of prophethood in essence. He's the only prophet. He can choose other people to be prophets. The other prophets are not prophets in essence. They are prophets Aradi, Aradi. He says they are Aradi, and the Prophet ﷺ is Zati. This is first innovation. Secondly, he says Khatamun Nabiyyin refers to if another prophet came in the timeline, it would not be violated. Because it's nothing to do with the timeline, it's to do with the Prophet ﷺ being the prophet of essence, and the others are Aradi. So based on this, many scholars refuted him, including, Abdul Hayy Laknawi, the
yes.
famous muhaddith.
Yes.
He refuted Qasim Nanotwi. He wrote an introduction to a refutation.
Now, are these ijtihadi errors?
You see, the mas'ala is not ijtihadi. It's ijtihadi which entails kufr. So he may have done ijtihad, but the result was kufr, disbelief. So then, what they identify as Barelvi, before Imam Ahmad Rida Khan, there were so many scholars who refuted him. Like, there's a scholar called Ghulam Dastaqir Qusuri who refuted Rashid Ahmed Gangoi on the kidhb issue, on lying. So I'm saying to the Deobandi ulama, this is what was being discussed. I'm saying to the Deobandi ulama, you got an issue with Imam Ahmad Rida Khan. I believe he's a great scholar. If we place him aside and we look at other Sunni ulama who refuted Deobandi ulama, there are so many, meaning they make it out to Tulab al-Ilm like yourself that Ahmad Rida Khan Barelvi was one isolated scholar who refuted the Deobandi ulama and he caused division. This is not the case, because there were other ulama before him, like Fadlul Haq Khairabadi refuted Ismail al-Dahlwi. Now Ismail al-Dahlwi is held in high regard by Deobandi ulama. He wrote a book called Taqwiyatul Iman in 1821, which is Wahhabism. It's not even Maturidi Aqida, it's not Sunni Aqida, it's Wahhabism. So some of the Darul Ulums of Deoband, they teach Taqwiyatul Iman, they respect Ismail al-Dahlwi with great reverence. And Rashid Ahmed Gangoi and Qasim Nanotwi followed his methodology and innovated so many different things. Then what happened is any prominent graduate who came from Darul Uloom Deoband, they adopted that creed and defended that creed. So it became like a school of, like the Mu'tazila. So the Sunni ulama who identified that, they start labeling them as Barelvi, Barelvi, Barelvi. But it's not only Imam Ahmad Rida Khan. There was other scholars like in the Middle East. Sheikh Mahmoud al-Attar, who was the Mufti of Damascus, he wrote a fatwa against Rashid Ahmed Gangohi. And the introduction was written by Imam Yusuf al-Nabahani, rahimahullah. And then you know, in Husam al-Haramain, the fatwa Imam Ahmad Rida Khan placed on the 4 Deobandi elders, that was signed by scholars of Makkah al-Mukarramah and al-Madinah al-Munawwara. Then they wrote al-Muhannad, al-Mufannad, and they have you read al-Muhannad?
No.
If you go back to al-Muhannad, they have so many errors in al-Muhannad also. Then al-Muhannad was refuted by a Sawarim al-Hindiya. 200 Indian ulama refuted them. They said, you guys are adopting a wrong creed here. So it's basically a school that is Hanafi in furu', but Wahhabi influence in creed.
In AQIDA.
Yeah, Wahhabi influence in certain points in creed which they are incorrect.
Okay, now I understand 100% what you're saying, and I agree that if these Deobandi ulama, if they're incorrect in what they're saying, we have to accept that they're incorrect. And I'm not a bigot on being a Deoband, but what I understand is my Aqidah is Ash'ari or Maturidi.
That's fine.
And I understand my fiqh is I'm making taqlid of Imam Abu Hanifa.
That's fine.
But now, when not to cause any conflict, but when you come to the issue of Barelviism within South Africa, or maybe my understanding of it, you come to pointers like Hadir wa Nadir, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam being Hadir and Nadir, and you come to things like Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam being Alimul Ghaib instead of Ilmul Ghaib, and things of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam being Nur instead of Bashar.
Okay.
Now,
we'll
what
go
is
through
your
one,
take?
one by one.
Okay.
We got somewhere though, because
Yes.
you agree with me on what we. Yes.
Yes.
Remember one thing, because you're South African, the creed of Sunni Muslims was predates Al-Imam Ahmad Rida Khan even in South Africa. So you know Sufi Sahib in Durban,
Yeah.
he was not, you wouldn't label him Deobandi or Barelvi, would you?
I don't know.
He died in 1309, I think. Yes?
Yeah.
Al-Imam Ahmad Rida Khan passed away 1340. So he was a scholar who came before. But anyhow, going on to the issues. Most of those 3 issues you mentioned, Hadir wa Nadir, Ilmul Ghaib and Nur, you are taught the incorrect interpretation of that in your Deobandi Madaris to make the Sunni belief look like shirk. I'll give you how. Hadir wa Nadir does not mean the Prophet ﷺ is here, 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 here. It doesn't mean that. It means that the Prophet ﷺ, the actions of his nation are presented to him in his barzakh.
That is our Aqidah.
Listen, let me finish this. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives prophets the ability, like he gave Musa alayhi salam the ability to stand up in his grave and pray, but then the Prophet ﷺ met him in Al-Quds al-Sharif, then he met him in the heaven, 6th heaven. If the Prophet ﷺ, his body, Al-Jism al-Mubarak, always remains in the grave. But if the Prophet ﷺ comes in the dream of a believer, or they see him in a wakeful state, this is possible.
Yes, 100%.
Yes, this concept is called Hadir wa Nadir. Why do they call it Hadir wa Nadir? Hadir doesn't mean, in this meaning, it doesn't mean he's present here and right now. It means his ruh, the ruh of the Prophet ﷺ, is able to observe the actions of his nation. Yes?
Yes, agreed.
Agreed.
But
the term, the term now,
like now, I just want to clarify one thing, because of what's a common tradition is, example, if we have to stand up to make salat ala nabi. Now what will happen is, in certain places where I went, a chair will be placed, example.
Okay, listen. I've been doing salatu salam all my life. I've never seen this.
Okay.
Yes?
Yes.
I've attended most mosques in UK, which people call Barelvi, and now I'm attending in South Africa. I've not seen this. But this is not a position of a scholar. So the things I mentioned to you about Deobandi, I didn't say to you, Deobandi laymen are doing this and the Tabligis do this. And no, I went on to their scholars, they hold this as a position.
All right.
Yes?
Right.
So when you because you're a Talib al-Ilm, you have to be scholarly in your... So if there's some ignorant people doing... like I went to visit Sufi Sahib's grave and someone kissed the grave. Now that doesn't mean that Al-Imam Ahmad Rida Khan held this position. The man who did this is ignorant of that action. I correct him. Is that correct?
Right. This is the first time I'm understanding something.
Yes. So
Right.
I hope the Rizvi guy is listening as well. So now in this regard, Hadir wa Nadir this is what it means. Now someone can say, I disagree with the term.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
You know, bread is, you can call it chapati, you can call it roti, you can call it bread, you can call it different names. So someone, the Deobandi ulama could have said, we disagree with the term because it can give the wrong impression, but we agree with the concept. Yes?
Right.
Moving on to the second one, Alimul Ghaib. Imam Ahmad Rida Khan, he writes in a Dawlatul Makkiyah that we do not use the term Alimul Ghaib because, not because in that meaning it is incorrect, it's because it can give the false impression to a person that the meaning when they ascribe Ilmul Ghaib, knowledge of the unseen, to the Prophet ﷺ means simply Allah gave him knowledge of the unseen. So verses of the Quran like وَمَا هُوَ عَلَى الْغَيْبِ بِضَانِينَ, he is not stingy with the unseen. Yes?
Yes.
Verses of Al-Quran Al-Kareem, عَالِمُ الْغَيْبِ فَلَا يُظْهِرُ عَلَى غَيْبِهِ أَحَدًا إِلَّا مَنِ ارْتَضَى مِنْ رَسُولٍ. Yes?
Yes.
So the knower of the unseen, he doesn't reveal the ghaib to anyone except the one he is pleased with from the messengers. This is what Barelvis believe, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him immense knowledge. But go back, now you're a talib al-ilm, go back to Imam Ahmad Rida Khan's books. But not only him, there's so many scholars.
But
meaning we're not limited to one man.
Yeah.
If like now, if that is listening, if we place the Imam Ahmad Rida Khan's books on the side and we go to other ulama, they all say the same, which means that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him immense knowledge, but there's a distinction between the knowledge of Allah and the knowledge of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah's knowledge is eternal.
yes.
The knowledge of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is created.
Yes.
Allah's knowledge has no beginning. The knowledge of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has a beginning.
Yes.
Allah's knowledge has no end. The knowledge of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has an end which Allah knows.
100%.
The knowledge of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't, it's not added onto. The knowledge of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is always increasing. Yes?
Currently.
Yes.
Yes. You're
Always
right,
increasing in
yes,
the grave, and
yeah.
Allah's always teaching him. This is the Ilmul Ghaib belief of Barelvis.
But
Or
now,
what you call Barelvis.
And in a kitab I read one kitab, wallah, it just slipped from my mind, an English kitab. On each of these points were brought forward. And dalil there was given from Quran to prove Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was given. It was a kitab written by a Barelvi. But again, he was a scholar, but maybe not a scholar on the category of Imam Ahmad Raza Khan. But now the issue there was, he said, gave an example. He said Deobandis believed that maybe that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, no, it was written there that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam knew what was on the occasion what baby was in the stomach of a woman. But now the AQIDA is that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam knew on that occasion, but not that he knows every baby in every woman's stomach. Is that correct?
Okay, look. If theoretically speaking, we say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is able to reveal the knowledge of the babies in the stomach of every living woman to a person, is this possible?
Yes.
Is possible. So it can never be shirk, because Allah can reveal it to someone. For Allah it's not complete knowledge, because Allah's knowledge is endless.
Yes.
So like angel of death can know every person who will die, he knows. But it's not shirk, you're not equating the knowledge
To Allah.
subhanahu wa ta'ala, because Allah's knowledge is beyond that.
Yeah.
So firstly it falls in the, in theology you have the three judgments: possible, impossible, necessary. This would fall under possible. So those person who believes this can never be a mushrik.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's incorrect.
So now we go on to, is it proven from the Quran and Hadith?
Yeah.
So this is where the discussion goes on to, was the knowledge of the 5 things revealed to the Prophet ﷺ in totality? And the scholars have a dispute.
5?
5 things.
Yeah.
The 5 things. The 5 things are: when the day of judgment shall occur,
Oh, Jesus.
what is in the wombs, what weather it will be tomorrow, what a person will earn, and where a person will die. Yes? These are the knowledge of the 5 things which are mentioned in one of the surahs of the Al-Quran. I think Surah Al-Luqman. Yes? Those 5 things, can Allah reveal the complete knowledge to someone in makhluk? We say yes. One group of scholars held the position that partial knowledge of this was revealed to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Some scholars said towards the end of his life, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed it all to him. Yes? Now, both positions are correct. But Imam Ahmad Rida Khan held the first position, that towards the end of his life, the life of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam on earth, the knowledge of the 5 things was revealed to him, because the Quran has knowledge of all of this. So Al-Quran Al-Kareem is the book which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, La ratbun wa la yabisun illa fi kitabim mubin. There is nothing wet and nothing dry except illa fi kitabim mubin. And he said kitab mubin is Quran. So because the knowledge of the Quran and its interpretation was revealed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed this knowledge to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam the way he revealed it to angel of death, the death of every person, the way he will reveal it to Israfil alayhi salam, the day of judgment.
Now this opinion is held by scholars prior to Ahmad Rida Khan.
There were scholars who were contemporary to him, like Al-Imam Muhammad bin Ja'far al-Kattani from Morocco, who held the same view. There was Al-Imam Abdul Hayy al-Kattani from Morocco who held the same view, contemporaries. And they all cite previous ulama who held this position as well, like Al-Imam Zurqani and others. Al-Imam Ibn Hajar Makki. They have so many scholars who held this view. Then the scholars who held another view, they said some of the knowledge of the 5 things was revealed and the rest was not. Now what happened with the Deobandi ulama, they didn't, where was the mistake of the Deobandi ulama? The Deobandi ulama, instead of debating him on the partial or complete, the first mistake they did was they would give examples where ostensibly the Prophet ﷺ wouldn't know something, and they would say, look, he doesn't know. Look, he doesn't know. Look, he doesn't know. And this led to an insulting behavior. The second major mistake they did was their scholar Maulana Ashraf Ali Thanwi wrote the book Hifzul Iman. When in discussing this thing, he ended up insulting the Prophet ﷺ, because he said, if the Prophet ﷺ knows what's inside of graves, what's so special regarding the Prophet ﷺ? And then he said, because X, Y, and Z will also know this. He mentions bad things, it's not worth repeating that. And this is why the fatwa was placed on him. So what the third mistake that the Deobandis made is they started defending the statement of Ashraf Ali Thanwi like as if he is ma'soom. Instead, they should have said, this is a mistake, and refuted that mistake. If they held a partial view, this is one of the positions of AHLE Sunnah and the other one's a position of AHLE Sunnah. But then they started misinterpreting what Al-Imam Ahmad Rida Khan is saying by saying, oh, he's equating Allah's knowledge with the Prophet ﷺ, which is false. They even told Sheikh Abdul Fattah Abu Ghudda, from Syria, Sheikh Abdul Fattah Abu Ghudda. Sheikh Abdul Fattah Abu Ghudda, when he brought out an edition of Anwar Shah Kashmiri's book on, Nuzul of descent of Isa alayhi salam, Sheikh Abdul Fattah Abu Ghudda doesn't know who Al-Imam Ahmad Rida Khan was. He just calls him Al-Barelvi. And he writes, this Barelvi claimed that the knowledge of Allah and the Prophet ﷺ is equal, except the knowledge of the Prophet was given to him, and that's it. That's the only difference. Now that's a misquote. So who informed Sheikh Abdul Fattah Abu Ghudda of this? The ulama of Deoband, to misinform scholars regarding one Sunni scholar. So this is with regard to Ilmul Ghaib. The third issue you brought up, Nur and Bashar.
Sheikh, on that one, on Ilmul Ghaib, with regards to Rasulullah knowing the exact time of Qiyamah, what is the position?
That would fall into the knowledge of the 5 things. So in a hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said it's on a Friday. Yes?
Yes.
The Prophet ﷺ even told that when it will occur, 2 men will be folding a cloth. And meaning yet partial knowledge is agreed. The specific day is the issue of dispute, but it can never be shirk.
Okay.
That's the main.
Like Hadithul Jibreel, when
مَا الْمَسْئُولُ عَنْهَا بِأَعْلَمِ مِنَ السَّائِلِ. That's one of the proofs they use, but do you know there's commentators in the Arba'in who write he didn't know it. there's Sunni ulama, the meaning from before Imam Ahmad
Out of
Khan.
humbleness maybe or something.
Pardon?
Out of humility.
Humility.
Yes.
Okay.
So, meaning the issue is not an issue of kufr and iman.
But alimul ghaib is a quality.
He says you don't use the term.
Okay,
He says you don't use the term.
complete knowledge of the unseen is something only given to it's Allah's.
What did I say? Knowledge of Allah is everlasting and eternal.
Yes.
So-
So we on no basis, Barelvis or AHLE Sunnah wal JAMAAH, do we take that sifat
We do
of
not
Allah?
equate. No. You don't ascribe the attribute of Allah to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi
Okay.
wasallam. Yes.
100% correct.
Yes.
Yes.
The third issue that you brought up was Nur and Bashar. Anyone who negates Bashar commits kufr. Yes, because
Yes.
the Quran says, "Qul innama ana basharun mithlukum yuha ilayya annama ilahukum ilahun wahid." So we believe is Bashar. The only thing that what they calling Barelvis is not the Barelvi belief, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created a light, and that was the light of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that is a part of his being. It doesn't negate his humanness. Where is this proven from? From hadith. So that's where the discussion regarding the hadith of Jabir, أول ما خلق الله نوري. Was Imam Ahmad Rida Khan the only one to affirm this hadith? The answer is no. You know Abdul Hayy Laknawi, the muhaddith?
Yes, I read about it.
He has a book called Al-Athar al-Marfu'a fi al-Ahadith al-Mawdu'a, unforged hadith. When he comes across أول ما خلق الله نوري, he authenticates the hadith. You heard of Ismail al-Ajluni, the author of Kashf al-Khafa, a 11th century scholar on Ulum al-Hadith. When he comes across the hadith, أول ما خلق الله نوري, he says Sahih hadith. Al-Imam al-Zurqani, he's an author of the Al-Mawahib al-Ladunniya. He has this, the commentary on that also. On that book, he also authenticates the hadith. So Imam Ahmad Rida Khan was not alone. So how did they do propaganda again? They'll tell students like you, they don't believe he was a prophet. They don't believe he was a man. They believe he was light only. But they don't say that. The Sunni belief is he was a man, but he was so special that Allah created a light which was in him, and the Sahaba would see this. Like when, in the Shama'il, what does Anas bin Malik radiallahu anh say? When the Prophet ﷺ entered Al-Madinatul Munawwara, everything became illuminated. And when we buried him, the light disappeared. So there was a physical light that Allah created in him, and that would be visible. His humanness was uncomparable to anyone, because when he would sweat, his sweat would be perfume. If he didn't do khat of the beard, so the prophets, the beard stays smart. If they don't bathe, they remain clean. If they don't wash the clothes, their clothes remain clean because the clothes are attached to them. Meaning the flies never sat on the body of the Prophet ﷺ. So this is what Imam Ahmad Rida Khan advocated. But the Deobandis opposed this. And they said, no, you believe he's not a human. But he did believe he's a human, but unlike any other human.
So now, Sheikh, if any person has to hold the view, like example, I'll give you an example so you understand where I'm coming from. I attended a function a while back, and during that function, everyone now stood up for salami. So then I stood up and then I walked out, right? After I walked out, and then after we were in the reception area, I went to go greet one of the uncles, older uncles from there. So he told me, no, when the Prophet ﷺ was there, you never greeted him. Now you want to come greet me.
Now again.
Now I know, I understand that is
He's
not
a
the
common
view.
man, yeah?
Yeah, I understand. But I'm saying a person who holds that view, what is your take on him? Is he correct or is it incorrect, his belief?
What you do with such a person is you sit him down the way I'm sitting you down.
Yes.
And you explain nicely to him, uncle, we don't know if the Prophet ﷺ came because we can't see. It's ghaib. But we know that our action is being presented to him.
Yes,
Yes? So next time you should stand in salami with what intention? That my salam will be
presented, which is correct. I don't
So now you're a Sunni. You're
Yes.
not a Deobandi.
Okay, but one more thing.
That is what Professor
Wait.
Ubaid
What?
people
So repeat that again. Everyone listen to this. This is the perception you've had.
by seeing certain things.
This is why I want to tell people in South Africa that my approach towards the Deobandis that you're seeing is in order to bring Deobandis into AHLE Sunnah wal JAMAAH, because so much of them have misconceptions regarding our belief.
But
But
Sheikh, I'll tell in the same way, mirroring what you're saying, as many Deobandis need to be brought into AHLE Sunnah wal Jama'ah, many Barelvis on the same light have to be brought into AHLE Sunnah wal Jama'ah. Layman,
yes.
Right. But I want to just...
I'm talking about the scholars, Deobandi scholars.
Now what happened
see
maybe
the
a week ago my great grandmother passed away. So I attended, and they were of Barelvis. So I attended the janazah, and as the janazah was, they brought the body in, and the sheikh started reading there. So he read Surah Yasin. After that he started making dua. And in his dua, my Urdu is not so polished, but pesh ayah means to present, if I'm not mistaken. So he firstly said present her in front of Khwaja. I forgot now. No. Muhyiddin Chishti, rahimallah. And then few other things he said, and then he said, may she be touched by the chadar of Fatima, radiallahu anha. Now all these kind of beliefs, I'm not saying is the beliefs of the scholars of, I won't categorize as Barelvis anymore, scholars of AHLE Sunnah wal Jama'ah, categorizing Ahmad Radha Khan under that barrier if he was AHLE Sunnah wal Jama'ah. What I'm saying is these are the general beliefs of, from what I'm seeing from my perspective, of lay people within our country.
Look.
Now where did all of this spring from?
Okay, this firstly, it's good we've got somewhere, yes?
Yes, 100%.
These beliefs existed before Imam Ahmad Rida Khan, yes? So he wasn't responsible for this, because one man can't be that influential that you go to Morocco and people believe in some similar things like this. You go to Malawi and the African people believe in this, yes?
Yeah.
You go into different parts of the world. What you are going into now is the realm of fiqh and not aqidah. Why? You can correct, you know why it's fiqh? It's not aqidah now. You can correct the layman and go to the layman and say, look, you should not word your dua like this. You should word your dua like this, because your wording is incorrect, because it may give the incorrect impression to the one listening. This is fiqh now, not aqidah. Yes?
But if
the
imam on the musalla is making a dua like that, then it's a issue of aqidah.
No, even then, because what he's doing is presenting wasila, but wasila, even according to Deobandi ulama, is not shirk.
Yeah, wasila.
But what he's doing is
even istighatha.
Yes, you agree on istighatha.
Yeah,
yes?
I checked the debate on it.
Yes, you agree on istighatha.
Yes.
It's very good. So the wording is a problem. Yes,
Okay.
Me and you are in agreement on that. They need to refine the wording.
Like now, like statements like, according to what my ustads, I posed this question to them. They said saying ka or ya, although it's used for the hadir tense, but if a person is your near.
You done nahmir. In nahmir, he mentions ya is for far and close.
Yes.
Yeah, but no. But
Harfun nida is for far and close.
But if I'm saying ya Rasulullah
Sallallahu
alaihi wasallam, with the belief that this is being listened to by Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam and not presented to him, is that the act of shirk or not?
No. Why? That's not shirk as well. Why? You know, hearing from far and seeing from far, is it the attribute of Allah?
No, Allah sees and hears all.
Yes, not from far and close.
Yes.
So if someone says the Prophet ﷺ, he is from far, is he equating him with Allah?
No, but
No.
But now say example, if I'm saying Ya Rasulullah, yeah, and sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and thousands of people across the world are saying Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in order for Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam to hear all of that at the same time from far or close, he'd have to be all hearing.
All right, no, look, he wouldn't have to. You know why?
Why?
Because all hearing is not limited to 1 million people. All hearing is beyond that.
Yes.
Yes? When we say Allah's as-sami', does Allah's all hearing, but does he hear colors?
No.
He does. You need to read Aqidah properly. You know, Al-Basir, Allah is all seeing. Does he see sounds? He does, meaning because he's hearing and seeing is beyond that.
Okay, right. We
Yeah.
haven't come to that.
Deobandis generally can't teach Aqidah. I tell you, no, they Darul Uloom.
But we do Aqidat al-Tahawi.
No, I'm talking about the Kalam. Ilmul Kalam is weak. Very weak. They need to really learn from real Asharis like me. Yes? But the thing is, when we say, let's say 1 million people the Prophet ﷺ hears, can Allah create this ability in the Prophet ﷺ? Is it from mustahil, wajib or jaiz?
It is jaiz.
Jaiz. So are there hadiths for this? The answer is yes. So that's when you look at the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, you know, there's so many hadiths for this. One example is in Tirmidhi, the Prophet ﷺ went up and he heard al-mala'ul a'la from the angels talking, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, can you hear them? Do you understand what they are saying? And he said, no. So he said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed his yad on my chest, and of course we agree that that's not a limb. But and the Prophet ﷺ said, I knew what they were saying. So Allah created that ability in him.
Yes.
Likewise, the Prophet ﷺ, in a hadith in Tabarani, the Prophet ﷺ said, Inna Allah rafa'a li ad-dunya. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala raised for me the world, and I look at it like the way one of you looks at the palm of your hand. Yes? That's hadith in Tabarani. That hadith is authenticated even by Wahhabi scholars. You know, there's a Wahhabi called At-Tuwayjiri. At-Tuwayjiri authenticates the hadith. He says it's sahih. And that's what Imam Ahmad Rida Khan, that's what he quotes, hadith. Another example is in Sahih Muslim. The Prophet ﷺ said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opened for me the mashariqul ard and magharibul ard. Yes, and I knew what was in them. I knew the kingdom of my nation. So, like this, there are so many hadith that it cannot be shirk. It's similar to angel of death, knowing angel of death. You know, you read Sharh al-Sudur of Imam Suyuti. You need to read it. He has a hadith that he says the angel of death looks at like a pot with seeds, and he can pick and choose anyone. Now, it's not shirk because it's still limited when compared to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, out of respect, we don't say that. We make the distinction. We say Allah's knowledge is eternal, endless, wajib, the knowledge of the makhluk. But what the Deobandi ulama ended up doing, they start saying, what's special about the Prophet ﷺ? Even X, Y, and Z knows this. So this is where Khalil Ahmad Saharanpuri, he ended up saying in Barahin Qati'ah that if the Prophet ﷺ knows this is not specific to an angel of death knows this, which is fine because angel of death is respectable. But then he said even shaitan knows this and this and this. So Imam Ahmad Rida Khan gripped him on that issue as well. This is a fourth issue that they were gripped on.
But in that statement, he's making a general statement. It's not
But
an
he
attack on the personage of the
So when they defend this statement, they said Imam Ghazali said something similar. They said this.
You recognize Imam Ghazali?
Listen, yes, of course, he's one of our scholars, not yours. So, Al-Imam Ghazali, rahimullah, when you check his Ihya, when you check the statement, you know what Imam Ghazali does? He says about the angels, he doesn't mention shaitan. You go back to the statement, it's different. Because angels have rusul as well. So if you're comparing angels with the Prophet ﷺ, it's fine. But you can't put shaitan into that. But this is the end of my discussion with you.
Yeah.
I'm sure I gave you a good summary.
100%.
Yes?
Can I ask you one last question?
Go on.
As a Tabligh Jamaat, because I take play, my life changed, alhamdulillah, through spending time in excluding the fact that my Ilyas rahmatullah alayhi was a Deobandi, with the Tabligh Jamaat itself, do you have any issues?
Listen, we don't do takfir of laymen. Yes? So, you know, lay people, like I don't do takfir of you. I don't say you're a kafir. Yes?
Yes.
And
with the effort then. With the work of Tabligh.
What it is, we've got a Dawat Islami, which is a Sunni Tabligh.
Yeah.
So you can join them. and do tabligh.
No, but I know. But what I'm asking is, do you have any issue?
Most tabligh people are lay people, yes?
Yes.
I don't call them kafir. They're normal people. Some of them may be good people. But I don't know who's at the top, who's in charge. I don't know anything about them.
He's asking what the work.
What the actual?
If they, I don't know what they spread. What do they spread?
No,
Do they teach Deobandi beliefs?
No, our tabligh basically this is based on the da'wah we give is 6
I tell
points.
you why I do understand of tabligh. What I know of tabligh is that tabligh, firstly, they only do tabligh to Muslims,
Yes.
which is, in my opinion, incorrect. Secondly, it's used and utilized to spread Deobandi beliefs. So, if I'm a normal lay person, I have a Sufi background, I'm a Sufi, tabligh knocks my door, they say, brother, come and pray. I think these are good Muslims. When I come close to them, after I spend 1 year, 2 years, they'll brainwash me into thinking Barelvis believe this, Barelvis.
I beg to differ.
Yeah? No, I'm telling you my impression.
Oh, okay.
The third issue is, they may tell people Mawlid is bid'ah, yes?
Yes.
But then they can't justify why 40 days is allowed.
Right. I look.
Do you agree?
I know they'll put
And
it
that-
under the banner of bid'ah hasana.
Which thing? 40 days?
40 days, yes.
What about Mawlid? Is Mawlid bid'ah hasana? And you know,
But actually, in actual speaking, there is no. You can't categorize it as bid'ah hasana, is it?
Mawlid.
No, anything is bid'ah hasana.
No, you can in
But
our
about kullu bid'atin dalalah.
Listen, you know, your understanding kullu bid'atin dalal is not Hanafi now. It's Saudi.
Okay.
Because that, you know, even Al-Muhannad al-Mufannad,
Yes.
Saharan Furi's book, the book that was written by the Deobandi ulama with the question and answers, they say to the Arab ulama, we believe in Qiyam and we believe in Mawlid. Do you know this?
No, I
So
don't.
which one is, which face of Deobandi is the real face? Because when they meet Saudi scholars, they say, we follow Muhammad bin Abdul Wahab. But when they meet Sufi Arab scholars, they say, we follow Al-Muhannad.
But-
Did you know this?
No.
But let me tell you with the hadith, kullu bidatin dalala. You've done usul shashi in your madrasa?
Not yet.
Okay.
They've done. Both of them have done.
Okay, you guys can listen as well. You know you have al-aam makhsus al-ba'ad, general statement with some specifics.
I heard. of it,
Yes? Like you have kullu aynin zaniya. Every eye is fornicating.
Yes.
But there are exceptions. Because the Prophets, alayhimus salam, their eyes do not commit fornication. So, is kullu bid'atin dalala aamun makhsus al-ba'ad? Is it a general statement with specifics? We say yes. Like how the hadith states, من سن في الإسلام سنة سيئة فله وزرها ووزر من عمل عليها. Whoever instates in Islam a bad practice, he will have the sin and the sin of those who act on it. ومن سن في الإسلام سنة حسنة فله أجرها وأجر من عمل عليها. Yes? Whoever instates in Islam a good practice, he will have the reward of it and those who act according to it. So Salih al-Uthaymeen, you know, the Salafi Wahhabi scholar, he writes, this sunnatan hasanatan refers to a prophetic act. It does not refer to a new act. But that's incorrect because the hadith states sunnatan sayyi'atan. There's no prophetic act which is bad. So it's general. The wording is what? General. So, and also the hadith states, Man ahdatha fi amrina hadha ma laysa minhu fahuwa rad. Whoever introduces a new thing which is not from it, it is rejected. So that means if a new practice has an origin in the sunnah, it's allowed. You can justify 40 days from this.
Yeah, that's how
Yes.
they justify it.
But how do you justify Milad? The Prophet ﷺ fasted every Monday.
Yeah.
He was asked in Sahih Muslim, why do you fast? He said, because it's the day I was I was born and the Yoma Wulidtu Fihi, and the day it was revealed, the Quran was revealed. Also in Musnad al-Bazzar, he sacrificed a goat on his birthday. Yes, aqiqah. He done aqiqah on his birthday. This tells us any ibadah for Mawlid on Monday or any day, even on the 12th, is permissible. Yes? But the general rule of the Quran, قُلْ بِفَضْلِ اللَّهِ وَبِرَحْمَتِهِ فَبِذَلِكَ فَلْيَفْرَحُوا هُوَ خَيْرٌ مِمَّا يَجْمَعُونَ, is general, that be happy with the favors of Allah. Now there's a Wahhabi who tried answering me on this. He said, this verse was revealed for a specific reason. But you know the AQIDA, which states that the sabab al-nuzul, the reason of revelation, it's not always limited to that. It can be general.
Yeah.
Yes. So showing happiness is similar to 40 days. But
Okay.
one more thing I will ask you
Yeah.
now. A married young man, he gets married. After marriage, he impregnates his wife and then he goes on tabligh for a year.
Yes.
Is it halal or haram?
With the ijazat of his wife, if she
Yeah,
is,
even with the ijazah.
it's halal.
It's halal.
When the if you see when the call came for Sahaba radiallahu anhu,
I'll answer, look.
yeah,
That was, you know, this is where tabligh is wrong. Because there's a distinction between the Khalifa calling you for jihad, yes, and the, you know, like the national army. Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anh, he would send the armies out. He would give them a wage. They would have a wage. You know, when the Sahaba would go on jihad, they would get a wage as well, because they'll get the ghanima, and then they were given the ghanima, and that was their wage. I know tabligh doesn't give wage to the people who go tabligh.
but it's by choice.
But when Sayyidina Umar radiallahu anh sent the armies out, he went to Sayyidah Hafsa radiallahu anha and he said, how long
Because
can a
of that
woman...
woman's poem.
Yeah?
That poem that the corners of my
Yeah,
bed
yeah,
would
yeah,
be shaking.
yeah. So he said, how long can a woman wait without her husband? And she said 4 months. And he would call him back every 4 months, yes?
Yes.
Because it would cause fasad, corruption otherwise. So that means, and that was a national army, they would give them a wage. So when tabligh do it for a year, it's not the same.
Now you see,
But these are furu
again,
issues.
Again, that is now something that is, okay, ulama go for a year. But it's advised that if you're going to go for a year, you do it when you're not married. If you're married and your wife doesn't give you ijazah, then you stay.
Again,
And the thing is, the da'wah of tabligh is a da'wah to iman. They call it 6
but how
points.
can you call Muslims to iman? They're already Muslims.
But Nabi sallallahu ya ayyuhalladhina amanu aminu.
Yeah,
I don't
no,
want
no,
to
no,
look.
no,
I
but
don't
you
want to. I don't want to.
Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu aminu.
Yes.
You know, if you go into the tafsir, see, they're using that to justify tabligh to Muslims, iman, when they call. Really, there's an agenda. The agenda was that when the Deobandi beliefs came to the fore and there was that disruption and the fatwa, the Husam al-Haramain came, the tabligh was formed to revert the Indian Muslims back to Islam according to the Deobandis in a subtle manner. And that's how they were, you know, in South Africa, that's how Deobandism was able to propagate itself amongst, because South Africa was always mainly Sufi, rooted in Sunni Sufi beliefs, meaning before Imam Ahmad Rida Khan, before him. And then the tabligh came after, and the tabligh converted, like your granddad must have been a Sufi. True? Yes?
You said you're great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yes. And how they done it is they converted people to thinking, oh, look, these guys, they believe in shirk and bid'ah. But now,
So
my method
what do you
is the
categorize yourself?
my method
Yeah.
is our method, meaning me, I'm part of AHLE Sunnah wal JAMAAH.
I do.
We're very forthright, we're very clear. This is our beliefs. We won't say to you, brother, come on tabligh with me. We're only learning
No,
basics.
but can I
And then
tell
when
you as a person, can I just beg to differ with you as a person who spent 4 months Jamaat where my life changed, and then I spent the second 4 months pedal, and I didn't nowhere, wallah, I'll tell you today and clarify it for everybody. When you come out in Jamaat, you're not allowed to discuss ikhtilafi masail. You're not, because it's usually the great usul.
Never mind, look.
But that's not
tabligh, let's leave tabligh discussion. We go
Okay.
back to the...
But
I
I
don't
want to
know...
ask you, do you categorize yourself as a Barelvi?
No.
So you
Sunni.
As a Sunni, and I categorize myself as a Sunni.
Yes. But do you say you're
Sunnah.
Deobandi?
Deobandi is what to take myself away from the beliefs that are understood in this country of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam's omnipresence in it, which is could be a misconception, is very possibly a misconception, and very
That's
possibly.
see, that's the distinction.
But
that-
as myself, as my aqidah,
For what I've explained to you, do you accept?
yes, because what you've explained to me is my aqidah.
Okay, but the Deoband ulama don't hold what you believe.
But the Deoband
That
ulama,
one on Noor and Bashar, I've also learned it.
We learned this
Rasulullah SAW was Bashar, we don't negate Bashar. And exactly what Sheikh said about Noor.
In
as well.
everything you said, in all three questions what I posed to you, there's a kitab written Ikhtilaf Ummat. I don't know if you...
By Palanpur, no, not Palanpuri, by Ludhianvi.
Yeah.
But he has a lot of incorrect information in
Okay,
there.
but...
And it's very poorly written.
Okay,
I
but...
have to say.
Okay, but...
Ludhianvi done a very poor job.
Okay, but that pointers you brought up is exactly what he writes as our Aqidah is not Deobandi, because when we learn in madrasa, as I read you studied Dars and Nizamiya.
Yeah.
So we studying Dars and Nizamiya is nowhere ever
You know
told.
the distinction between your Dars Nizami and the one we teach?
What?
In our syllabus, we do not have a single book of Imam Ahmad Rida Khan. All the books are before. In your Dars Nizami, you have books of Deobandi ulama. Do you know this? You are new, we're old.
Okay, but what I'm explaining to you is it's wallah is new for
But
me.
you know what? If the Deobandi ulama said what you're saying now,
Yeah.
there'll be no Deoband.
But
You've become Sunni and you don't even realize.
no, I am Sunni in
Give
the
me a
term-
hug. Let's go.
Sunni is in the term of Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. I was always Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah.
But Jazakallah for your discussion. Brothers here a good way of understanding how I discuss with Deobandi people.
Okay,
But you're not Deobandi to me.
one more thing.
You may have the whole mark imama.
That's I bought in Pakistan when I went for 4 months. But now I want to you want to ask a question about saying what?
Al-Madid Ya Ghos.
He'll explain that because he said he believes in istighatha.
No, but istighatha to Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And istighatha, okay, no. It's a very long discussion.
But you can take my phone number.
Okay.
Yes? I'll give you my phone number. You can ring me from South Africa. I'll be in England. You can stay in contact. Then we'll have discussions.
Okay.